It is Sunday, April 5th, and this is today's COVID-19 Task Force update, our daily update. I'm Joe Delarone. We'll have a very brief one today. There's only me and Lloyd Phillips is back, and Lloyd, of course, managed to get a day off yesterday, but he's back in circulation, so let's invite him in, our Commissioner of Public Safety, Lloyd Phillips.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday afternoon. Today will be brief. The weekend is always a little bit slower for the COVID-19 task force. But mind you, keep in mind, we are certainly a 24-hour operation. And fortunately, with modern technology nowadays, we don't always got to be in the same room. But rest assured, if there is an emergency, we can get the group together in a matter of minutes if need be. Today, I'll start off by maybe a couple of reminders. Reminder that we have set up an emergency isolation shelter. So if you find yourself in need of having to be isolated for various reasons, you can contact KSCS at 450-632-6880. Let them know that you want to ask for the person for the intake for the emergency shelter, and they'll forward you to the proper person. As well, a reminder that any type of psychosocial support that you may have as a result of the COVID pandemic and some of the emotions you may be feeling, or if you're having any other problems in that area, there's always somebody available. If it's not normal business hours to contact KSCS, you can always contact the peacekeepers, 450-632-65005. Ask for the on-call worker, and they'll definitely have somebody reach out to you as quickly as possible to speak with you and address your concerns. Well, today I had the time to take a look at what's happening in and around Quebec, and just do a little bit of a comparison of what's happening in Kahnawake. Look at the numbers in Quebec. They're up by approximately 1,000 from yesterday, for a total of approximately 8,000 people currently have the virus that have been diagnosed within the province of Quebec. One of the more somewhat alarming numbers is the fact that that 8,000, if you go back just 5 days ago, March 31st, the number was about 4,100. So it nearly doubled in a matter of 5 days. So that shows, again, I'm sure people are tired of hearing about that curve. That shows that we are still, on that very steep upward curve. How high that number will go, I mean, we could only at this point take some educated guesses. And there's people, epidemiologists and mathematicians and all kinds of people are studying these numbers and giving an estimate on where they'll end up until we start hitting that plateau. Actually, Quebec will be releasing some data on that, I believe on Tuesday, on where they have some estimates on numbers of people who may become impacted by coronavirus, but also maybe some estimates on when we're going to hit the peak and maybe start seeing some of that plateau. We're not 100% sure exactly what detailed information they'll be releasing, but certainly, from a provincial perspective, they'll have a better understanding and a better estimate of where we are heading, and give some estimated timeframes. But with that said as well, we're going to be looking at that data from the task force perspective. But because we have our own testing facility in the community, and we did do 100 or so tests, we were able to get that data as well, and be able to look at it from a Kahnawake perspective, look at the numbers in Kahnawake, do some analysis, and be able to compare that, between what's happening, nationally, provincially, but in our case, more importantly, what's happening right here in Kahnawake. So that's something that we're looking forward to releasing later on this week, until we have a chance to really crunch those numbers and get a better picture on what's happening in Kahnawake specifically. I guess maybe the important part also is looking at in Quebec overall, there have been 94 deaths. I think that's obviously the most important number that people want to understand. Thankfully, in Kahnawake, we're at 0. And in a month or two from now, if I'm standing here and I say the same thing, I'll be very proud of the response from our community. If we could say at the end of the day, there is 0. Obviously, for the people directly impacted, it's a horrible event to lose a loved one. But overall, I mean, those numbers are still fairly low. And there are people who are saying, well, that's still fairly low. And to a certain extent, are all these measures that we're taking worth it? My short answer to that is definitely yes. If measures weren't taken, across the province, who knows how high those numbers would have been. Right now there's 8,000 positive cases, there's 94 deaths. If measures weren't put into place, those numbers might have been double, could have been triple, the numbers that we see there. And if you relate that back down to Kahnawake, the measures that we took in Kahnawake and which are in many cases even stronger than what the province is doing, we have a handful of cases in Kahnawake. And that's something, again, on behalf of the community, I'm proud to hear that, and I'm glad to hear that. That means that we're on the right track. So sometimes, again, people saying, well, is it worth what we're doing? I say, again, definitely it's worth what we're doing. The lower the numbers, the better we are. The less people end up getting sick from this virus, the better we are. People get very sick, and so on and so forth. We want to make sure those numbers stay as small as possible. With that said, this is not a time for us to become complacent. We're in the middle of this battle, and if we let off the gas now and we start, modifying our approach or easing up here and there, and those numbers that we see as a handful could easily explode, and become much more. So it's not time to be complacent. It's time, like I said last week, keep our foot on that gas, maintain what we're doing, and assess as we keep moving forward. It's essential because we are, again, a more vulnerable population than there is in our neighboring communities because, again, we all live here. Our families and our friends and our aunts, uncles, and grandparents are all in the same community. We see them much more often than they do other places. So that into itself, because we're a close-knit community, all connected in one way or another, makes us more vulnerable. It makes us more, the spread could happen much quicker. So all the more reason why we have to keep our foot on that gas and keep moving forward. Some people had, on Facebook and stuff, made comments about yesterday was a beautiful day, people out and about in the community, which is great. Get outside, enjoy the sunshine, but at the same time, you have to keep that physical distancing. Even if you're outside, make sure you keep that 2 meter, 6 feet distance from the person that you're with. Don't start gathering, because I know it's been mentioned before. If you see you gather in a group of 3 or 4 people, and as you're telling stories, it's natural for us to start getting closer and closer, and before you know it, you're standing 2 or 3 feet away from somebody. So maintain those distances, but certainly get outside. Get the fresh air. It's also good for the soul, so to speak, right? To get outside and feel the sunshine. With that said, I mean, one of the questions that we heard, and either directly at the task force or we see on Facebook, is that we comments about like pool openings, like what do I do this year about my pool? Am I able to have the pool guy or pool company come in and get my pool ready? Unfortunately, at this point in time, the short answer to that is no. We said we're time and time again, we're trying to minimize the people who are not from Kahnawake coming here unless you have an essential purpose. And at this point in time, a pool is not deemed to be an essential thing. We don't want to jeopardize the community safety for the fact that somebody wants to open up their pool. Same thing, we had a couple of questions about people who get their yard fixed with gardeners and things of that nature. Again, unfortunately, at this point in time, the answer is no. We want to keep those companies out there and abeyance. When this is all over, by all means, people are welcome to get their pools fixed, get their yards fixed, and do whatever. And like I said, I'm in the same boat. So I'm not saying this and be able to say it's somebody else's issue. I got a pool at my house, and it'll get ready when it's ready. So I just want to put that out there for the community to think about that. No time in our history has my actions or your actions, have been directly impacted on each other. I depend on you just as much as you depend on me in terms of our everyday lives. So again, we're all in this together. I mean, it kind of becomes like almost like a cliche now, but it really is true. We're all in this together, and what I do and what you do impacts your neighbor and everybody in the community in one way or another. I was also listening to the Premier of Quebec, Legault's comments he made today about encouraging Quebecers to shop Quebec, and get their products from Quebec businesses and so on. And when I seen that, I kind of smiled a bit, because that's something that as a task force we said that 2 weeks ago. Shop Kahnawake, stay in the community, only go outside for essential purposes only, and we have most of what we need right here in the community. We have our convenience stores, we got the market, we got our fuel and so on. So as much as humanly possible, please stay in the community. Limit your travels outside the community as much as you possibly can. And again, like I said the other day, if you have to go out for essentials, plan your day. If you have to go to the post office and then you want to go to the bank and then you want to do groceries, try to do that all in one trip. And you head out, you may be out for a couple hours, and then when you come back, then you should be good for a number of days, hopefully maybe even a week. So that way you minimize your exposure to the outside. Outside, not meaning outside people, outside of the people who live in your home. Because at this point in time, there is no medical treatment. I think we all know that. We heard that time and time again. There's no formal treatment. I know President Trump was on the TV talking about different medications, but the medical professionals are basically not in agreement to that. They're saying there's trials happening and so on, but there is no formal treatment other than supportive treatment, and hopefully that the person will recover. There is no medical treatment, but actually what the treatment is at this point are all the measures that are put into place. Making sure that you're keeping your physical distancing. Make sure you only go outside for essential purposes. Washing your hands, and cleaning the surfaces in your home. When you get home after being out for a while, change your clothes at home before you go in the house. Change them in your entrance if you possibly can. Wash those clothes or throw them in the dryer for 30 minutes. Let them spin. That's enough to kill the virus. So these are some of the things that maybe seem very basic, but it seems to be working. That's what we have to maintain to be done, from now until we're able to start seeing, a change in the trajectory of this pandemic. We've been faring very well as a community, and I certainly want to see it continue that way. And the only way we'll do it is dependent on each other, getting through this, keeping that community spirit alive and well, because it's our responsibility as a community. I take the responsibility of the Commissioner of Public Safety very seriously to ensure that we're doing what we can, but ultimately, it's everybody's responsibility to do what is right. With that, I'll see you tomorrow, and on your way.
Lloyd, well said. It is a little bit of a rainy day today, so we're not getting as many people out there, but it is true. I live down near the water, and there were a lot of people out. And a lot of people, I guess most people were doing the social distancing, but there were a couple of groups of people where you had 7 or 8 people together, and actually you could hear people say, hey, keep your distance. People were reminding them. But at this point, we shouldn't have to be reminding them. We should know that. I'm fortunate. I'm married to a retired nurse, and every time I come in the house, she gives me a hard time. Did you wash your hands right away? Did you do this? Did you do that? And I'm happy to say, and I didn't do it this time, but I actually didn't touch anything, but I'll do it again. It is best to do it as often as you can. Keep your hands clean. Keep everyone safe by doing that. Just a couple of notes before we leave. The questions at mck.ca is still open. If you have any questions, we may be seeing Dr. Gauthier back this week or somewhere down the line. Both programs were very well watched, and I think very much appreciated. So get those questions in, questions at mck.ca. Don't forget, for information, medical information, you can go to the COVID-19.KMHC.ca website. That's at Cattery Memorial Hospital Center. And of course, you're watching this Facebook at Kahnawake 911. So just a couple of notes here. I did get to speak to a couple of people out in Akwesasne and Ganasdag in the past couple of days, and there are people watching from our sister communities as well. I'd like to say hello to them. And also like to say goodbye to Esther Canadian. At this time, times like this, with all of the world upside down, sometimes someone will pass and you don't even get to notice. You know, she led a very quiet life, but she's the last remaining person who was a longtime resident at the original Cadre Memorial Hospital Center. She lived at the interim building, and then she was the final, the last survivor of the old Cadre Hospital, living in the new hospital. And she passed away the other day, and she doesn't have a big family, and I know a lot of the staff people are very upset hearing of her passing. She was 85 years old. But at times like this, some of these things are getting put aside. There's not going to be a wake right now, just as we saw the last couple of weeks for the people who passed away. There's been no opportunity for that. So I just like to commemorate those people and remember those people, and I think we all do. And in the meantime, have a good rest of the weekend. There's not much of it left, but we'll be back tomorrow with our update. So enjoy it and take good care of yourselves. Nyao ko dano onigiwahi.